Okay, we are back, and here we are with Timeless 8 cast. In Timeless, we've recently gotten Seat of the Synod, one of the untapped artifact lands. We have the black and the blue ones, and these are ways that we can get blue mana off of an artifact permanent. So this is pretty nice. It is basically our 8th copy of Darksteel Citadel, in the sense that this card is often used to be another artifact for these artifact synergy decks. So what's the whole deal with 8cast, right? If you haven't played like Legacy or whatever, you may not be familiar with the archetype, but basically the idea is taking Thoughtcast, which is a 5 mana affinity for artifacts card that draws for 2, and supplanting it with Thought Monitor, which is another card that is essentially the same but on a 2/2 flyer. This one does cost 7 as well, a little bit more. And the idea with both of these is that you want to play enough artifacts that these things will become 1 blue mana, in which case they become super, super overpowered. In this deck, we do a lot of other things in order to make that artifact count high. We play things like all these 0 and 1 drops, Mishra's Bauble, Mox Amber, Aether Spellbomb, and now Vexing Bauble in Timeless specifically to deal with the combo decks like Omni Show. So that's in here as well. Patchwork Automaton's not necessarily in a lot of 8cast lists. I think it kind of goes in and out, especially in formats where you have things like Urza's Saga. That can generate threats. You don't really need a Patchwork Automaton, so they may shave this down to 2 or whatever, but this will be a formidable threat in Timeless. We also have Emery here. Turn 1 Emery possible with a bunch of 0 drops, and ideal in the sense that we are going to really just want to be looping our Mishra's Baubles and getting artifacts back like this, especially our Thought Monitors. Metallic Rebuke here, that's just kind of like another nice tempo play for Timeless. I think it's worth it in this format, so we are including it in the deck. And then we're running 2 Psymaster Thopterist, who's a really, really good way in getting the Thoughtcast and Thought Monitor cost down to nothing. So that also works very, very well with Kappa Cannoneer. This is a card that I believe is pretty instrumental in the, is it Modern, I think, 8cast deck. Basically, when this was printed, it was like super, super nuts. It was a card that was on par with Urza Saga, and it is an absolute powerhouse and a great finisher for the list, both in those Eternal formats and in our non-rotating Timeless format. So Kappa Cannoneer, 6 mana, Improvise, Ward 4, which is just absolutely crazy. They're not really going to be removing this without a board wipe, and whenever an artifact enters, this thing becomes essentially unblockable, and it scales and can eventually kill your opponent pretty easily. So looking to be playing some of these this time. We wanted to keep the higher end of the curve a little bit lower, so just 3 copies. Could go up to 4 if you want. And then in the lands, we're running about 20. We have the 8 artifact lands, and then other than that, it's Autoaura, Glasspool Mimics, great to copy artifact permanents or specifically Kappa Cannoneer or Patchwork. Those are nice. We can get another draw 2 off the Thought Monitor, so it's like we have 6. That's pretty cool. And then sink into Stupor, take away some permanent or a spell on the stack. So yeah, that's Timeless 8cast. We're just doing some mono blue things today. Should be a lot of fun. Make sure to do the like and comment YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in round 1. This episode of Full Control MTG is brought to you by Patreon and your viewership. If you want to support the channel financially, the Full Control MTG Patreon is the best place to do so. With a Shockland tier, you get access to videos as soon as they are recorded and edited. Don't wait to get your hands on another Full Control MTG deck list. Otherwise, it's your support for the channel that keeps me going. Thanks for being here, and enjoy the video. Alright, we're getting started here in round 1, and we have a hand that will be pretty decent if my opponent is on Omni Show. We have 2 Vexing Baubles, we got some Thoughtcasts to work with, and I think we will keep this hand as we go for an early-ish Emery. Potentially turn 2 is possible, and hopefully this Vexing Bauble will be a problem for my opponent. They're holding priority up here, which makes me think they have the green thing, Once Upon a Time, looking like they are probably not going to be Omni Show combo, so they may not care about this Vexing Bauble, but we'll see. And yeah, I guess seeing Gate of Mannerborn, it's either specifically Gates or it's going to be Primetime. Windswept Teeth is probably going to lock in Primetime is my guess. So we got to beat a Primeval Titan as early as turn like 3 or 4. That might be a little bit hard to do without counter magic. So we can get an Emery and a Vexing Bauble here, or we can get a Patchwork Automaton. We don't have, basically we could start looping Vexing Baubles, but that's a little expensive in terms of life. I think we'll do the Patchwork Automaton plan instead. Podcast getting cheaper, so is Emery. We should be able to do a decent amount of casting spells next turn. That's at least 1, 2, or 1, 2 here if we draw another land. Sorry, no, that's not how that works. We would need an untapped land, yes. Patchwork Automaton sitting pretty here. Opponent's probably taking at least a turn off here. Cameo Bamboo Groves means that they can natural order next turn, so I gotta watch out for that. Pretty much our big play here is going to be Kappa Cannoneer, which we don't currently have, so that's a problem. Aether Spellbomb, not terrible. It can stop one activation. We'll probably just end up dropping this as the land. We're not drawing any cards this turn. We'll set up Emery first, and then we'll go Spellbomb, I think. Now, that may not have been the best move, because while I do have Aether Spellbomb on the battlefield, if they just natural order next turn, it's still bad. We mill into a Mishra's Bauble. That's a decent engine. We'll just drop the Spellbomb out here for now. Patchwork Automaton can't attack, and it is what it is. Unfortunately, Vexing Bauble is not going to be able to do anything when it comes to natural order finding Primeval Titan, which we might see this turn. Yeah, Spellbomb, they're looking at it to see if it's blocking their game plan. I don't think it's going to be. Opponent says they're bad at this, but they have turn 4 Primeval Titan most likely here. There is a tapped land, and will it be natural order? No, it'll actually be a pass the turn, which is pretty convenient for me. Unless they just moved to second main phase in order to test me. They did not. In our case, though, we do get to go Emery here. We're going to cast this Mishra's Bauble and use that to get a Kappa Cannoneer and a trigger on Patchwork Automaton. Here's Bauble. Oh, unfortunately, that does not go through my Vexing Bauble. Kind of forgot about that. If that's the case, then we will just go for Kappa Cannoneer, tapping all of our stuff. That could have been nice, but unfortunately, all that is good for is one extra trigger with Emery. Honestly, not the end of the world. We can recast it later. So we have a 5/5 that can attack now, and this can get through an army of 2/2 zombies, so we're less worried about Field of the Dead, which could come down this turn and make just 2 zombies. Or sorry, yeah, just 2 zombies, because they can only put a Field of the Dead in. Unless they have another land in hand, then they can have 4. Fierce Empath will just go for the Primeval Titan from hand, I see. Okay, so we're going pretty slow here. A lot of ways that they could have ramped into this a little bit harder. They do have the Garen Brig, so they just didn't have it in hand. So uncounterable Primeval Titan next turn is something that we have to not die to. I will be holding the Aether Spellbomb to be safe. I think for this one, we will go ahead and crack the Vexing Bauble here. Take our draw. And then we will hopefully get a land. We found another Kappa Cannoneer. That's not too bad. And then Emery will make sure that our thought casts are cheap by casting this Mishra's Bauble, which will actually hit the battlefield this time. Okay, so we have a pretty big patchwork. That might need to sit back to block because Primeval... Okay, they don't have the ability to give Primeval Titan haste here. They need Spelunking or the equivalent card out. Kappa Cannoneer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd be straight up tapping out. I think I will Thoughtcast instead because we don't have a land currently for this turn. Now we do. This is good. This will trigger our Kappa Cannoneer, get that guy bigger. And I think we'll save second Kappa for next turn. We'll go ahead and draw again. That's our last blue mana. And we'll get another Bauble. That feels good. We're setting up a 2-turn clock here. And yeah, we'll have to just pass the turn on the Aether Spellbomb. But like I mentioned, their Primeval Titan won't have haste, so that's fine. So now, even if they did give it haste, it attacks into Patchwork, so that's good. And we will go in with Kappa. I will burn one of my Baubles at least in their upkeep. And then I'll possibly burn the second one in mine. So we just got to avoid them gaining life. And we should have a kill, I think, next turn. Let's see if we can get there. They're looking at Kappa Cannoneer. They will channel, and they will pay the ward 4 here. So they are really hell-bent here on getting this Kappa Cannoneer out of the way. I am happy to see that. We even get to find a land, which feels good. Let's get one of our few basics that are left. And they kind of did all but nothing with that turn, so we will take a look at their top here. They are in a very unfortunate situation where they do not want to be. We'll just, I think, take all these draws here. We can cast this Kappa Cannoneer since they ramped us. And then the question is, do I want to also get Vexing Bauble out now? I think I do because I'm going to recast those baubles. All right. And I don't think that it's going to have relevant text in this matchup. Seat of the Synod, perfect. So here we're probably looking to go for a Kappa Cannoneer at any point. We'll go like this. Do I want to tap the Patchwork? I think I'm okay to tap the Patchwork in this case. And then we'll do this, saving 1 blue mana. Perfect. So that can come out. Now we get to drop a Seed of the Synod, make that bigger. We're looking to get close to 10 as soon as possible, and then it will be Thought Monitor, except we want to do Thought Monitor after we recast a Mishra's Bauble. That will thankfully hit the battlefield because we lost our Vexing Bauble, or we used our Vexing Bauble, that is. Now Thought Monitor just casts for 1, make things big. And we should be able to hit next turn. We can even do another Mishra's Bauble here. And yeah, so I think basically it's just going to be Emery recast some Bauble type deal and then go in next turn. We have Metallic Rebuke now, which can be cast off of our stuff. Feels pretty good. We can snap this Primeval Titan unless they do Cavern of Souls. Titan of Industry. Now this was on Giant, so Metallic Rebuke is online. We're going to go ahead and do that. Kind of a surprising play pattern here. They just need to get their Primeval Titan on. If I'm them, I feel pretty bad about that play. But you know what? Everything's a learning moment for everybody. For us, though, that was a good round 1. Let's hop into round 2 and try to do it again. All right, it is round 2 here. We have a turn 1 Emery. I do like to see that. Let's give it a try. So Emery right off the bat can start looping Mishra's Baubles, which feels good. You'll love to see that. And then we're already somewhat close to a Kappa Cannoneer, so I mean, I'm pretty happy. We even have a Mox Amber coming back. Like, that feels nice. Let's do that. So we'll have 1, 2 mana, 3, 4, 5. We're actually just 1 0 drop off of a Kappa Cannoneer turn 2, which is insane for Timeless. Okay, so it's going to be this, and then I suppose actually I could just end up doing the Patchwork Automaton, make this game plan go. I think that'll be the plan here. Opponent's got Polluted Delta. We'll have to see what they're trying to get with this. Could have been Surgical. They can still Spell Pierce this or something. Or not Spell Pierce exactly, but you know what I mean. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should be able to hit next turn with Emery. Get that Kappa Cannoneer in. We will have to play around them tapping out, which on turn 2 is somewhat likely in most decks, unless they're holding up specifically Counter Magic, in which case I just try to get a Vexing Bauble, Darksteel Citadel, and another Bauble out. Or actually, maybe I try to get the Mox Amber out. Okay, so it's a Hedge Maze. They might just be on Omnishow, which is a really good thing because I can just go Vexing Bauble here, and that's my best protection. Yeah, definitely Omnishow here. So basically, I think I just hold Vexing Bauble in hand until they show and tell. I want to avoid getting this one counterspelled, but Emery can recast one of those from the graveyard as well, which would either eat a Veil of Summer or whatever. There's also something to say about hiding the information that we can do that, because they've seen it go to the graveyard, but they might not be paying attention. We kind of just want to try to surprise them, that is, with the not the Kappa Cannoneer, the Vexing Bauble. We actually drew the 0 drop that we needed, which is crazy. So we'll be able to do this plus a Vexing Bauble. Trigger on Patchwork. All right, so we will attempt Vexing Bauble here. Let me make sure that my colors are right. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 plus 1 is 7. Cool. Yes, we want Vexing Bauble here. Attempt to cast. Are they going to Surgical? What are they doing here? They got a Misty Rainforest and possibly some interaction. Okay, so we're allowed to cast it. I don't think I will be greedy and play the Kappa Cannoneer first. We'll just kind of hold that back as a thing that we can do for right now. Looks like they might crack the Misty here. No, we'll actually get the Vexing Bauble. So with that being the case, I mean, I'm a little bit wary of playing this Kappa Cannoneer, but like, let's try it. Patchwork Automaton hits 4 here. And we get our Kappa Cannon here. All right, sick. And I would like to attack for my 4. I guess they'll go for their Misty Rainforest now, looking for that 3rd land for Omniscience combo. All right, we get our 4, and they stare 10 damage, potentially more, this next coming turn. From my perspective, now that they've gone to 14, I do have lethal because it's Vexing Bauble cast, then crack Mishra's Bauble, replay Mishra's Bauble, and that's lethal on board. They did not surveil or anything, which is kind of interesting. And I mean, my shields are down here. If they can combo and get a Veil of Summer out for the Vexing Bauble, then that's fair play, but they'll need to do it off of 4 mana, which they only have 3 of right now. It's simply an Undercity Sewers Surveil. Okay. And we might have it here. Vexing Bauble is only in this deck for this specific matchup, so. Out of the graveyard, what do we have? It's just a Mox Amber, which I already have one on the battlefield. I think that I'm looking to just go for a 2-turn play here. What we will do is recast the Bauble, I think, second main phase, though. I could have done that earlier, but, you know, it is what it is. If they were to kill something, then we'd have some recourse. So let's look at their top here, see if they're drawing something nice. Is there anything that would warrant me playing a second Vexing Bauble? Not really. So I think we'll just go ahead and recast the Mishra's Bauble. A little bit of missequencing there, but it's the difference between 5 and 3. Either way, it's a 2-turn clock. And yeah, we're just not really doing anything other than this. Vexing Bauble does counter it, but it is worth a Patchwork trigger. So they'll go for Brainstorm here. We'll let them have that. And I think I like keeping the second Vexing Bauble in hand here for a play where they decide to kill Vexing Bauble prior to going Show and Tell. Okay, looks like we'll have it here. They did not have a protected Show and Tell win. Feels pretty nice to have my tech work out like that. You know, it takes 4 slots out of the deck to play a playset of Vexing Baubles, and it often feels pretty annoying in the deck building to have to cater so heavily to a deck like this, but with Timeless showing a lot of Omni Show, when you're looking at the ladder, it is really just a good idea to sack those 4 slots for something that's useful like this. Well, anyway, that was the end of round 2. Here comes round 3. Okay, it's round 3, and we've done pretty well so far. This time, though, we don't have an early Emery, and it's really just building up towards a Thought cast. This Metallic Rebuke is not necessarily castable, and we do have some of our highest CMC things in hand. I'm going to mull this one back, and we'll take this hand, I think. It is just a slow standard Emery, but we can get either a Kappa Cannoneer or Thought Monitor out. I think I'm putting the Kappa back. Start with some tapped lands. And we really just want to make it to turn 3. Not necessarily a given in Timeless. Mishra's Bauble. Not off of a DRC, so that's kind of nice to hear. But Blood Crypto, what do I think about that? They're going to take a look at my top here. I assume that there's probably Thoughtseize in my future then, or Grief. Dark Writ, and maybe it's even worse. Maybe we're looking at Sorin. Okay, no. If that was a Sorin that was putting something nasty onto the battlefield, I would not really have been able to come back from it. But it looks like this will just be some Reanimator. They'll be able to reanimate a Fury here. Demonic Tutor going for something gross, though. What do we need to protect against the best? Well, obviously we need to try to stop them from using their graveyard. They know our top deck, which is a Thought cast. That doesn't feel very good. And I think we are in a slow start that is going to really ruin us, to be quite honest. So Polluted Delta, here it comes. And they are just Rakdos. So are we persisting back the Fury? That would be pretty gnarly. I think my Emery is not going to survive, though, now that I see that in the bin. Troll of Cause of Doom, definitely think that they found a Reanimate, most likely. I think we are going to see a creature come down this turn. And really, who could blame you? This makes sense. I'm glad the Fury comes now. Because that means Emery doesn't necessarily die. Although, I mean, am I really just playing turn 3 sad Emery like this? We're going to have to mill into a creature that I can recast. We get a Bauble. So that basically means I'll have 5 mana next turn. I'll be able to do a discounted Thought Cast. And then, I mean, is my only hope this Kappa Cannoneer being cast? I'm going to be taking 6 a turn, and that doesn't feel very good. Unfortunately, I think this is a hand that does not stand up to the standards of the current Timeless meta. But, you know, we're giving it a try regardless. Definitely think that my Game 2 or Game 1 hands would have been better. Diabolic Intent, there goes the Stitcher Supplier, and this might be a Breach deck. Sometimes the decks that are trying to do that sort of thing will go Stitcher Supplier, Diabolic Intent, so that could be some fringe thing that they're going for. Although, what are they really casting out of the graveyard? Just some Rituals and some Griefs. I don't see a Tendrils, so likely not that. But like another Reanimate's kind of gnarly. Another Fury, I guess, from hand even. I'll do a Grief here to take my best card. And I think, yeah, right around this point, I think we're looking like we're in trouble. At least they're not scamming the Grief, so we get to keep 3 of our cards. Well, we're always taking this 6 here. And while that was bad, it could have been worse. This Otawara, I can send the Fury back with. So that would cost me just 3. So we'll go Mox Amber here. And that is so close to being able to Kappa Cannoneer here. So I will go ahead and use the Otawara on their turn. Unless I want to just try to cast Kappa Cannoneer next turn. What's my graveyard? So yeah, none of these are able to come back, sadly. If I think I can just eat the Fury, then I can play the Kappa Cannoneer, I guess. Or you know what we can do? We can play a Thought Monitor every turn. That's actually not bad in the face of a Fury. So maybe just take another 6. Doesn't feel good, but we are alive. Okay, so they are actually, in fact, an Underworld Breach deck. Was kind of not expecting that. So they can double Grief me here. No, they can't. They only have 1 card in hand. They can single Grief me here. So is it combo or... So if they play a Stitcher Supplier, then we know they're going for a combo kill. If it's Grief, then they're just trying to kill me with this Fury. Okay, the combo kill is what is happening here. Diabolic Intent probably going to be used to go for Tendrils here. 3 mana left in the bin. They'll have to cast 1 more Dark Ritual. That'll leave them with 5. They'll actually have to cast it twice. So the question is, do they have enough in graveyard for Writ. So it's Writ, sack Stitcher Supplier to Diabolic Intent, play Tendrils. So they go down to 3 mana, Stitcher Supplier. Yeah, I think they do have it. I think they just barely have it, yeah. Yeah, and then the last 3 go Diabolic Intent. They mill 3 off of the Stitchers. Okay, cool. So they will get me here, and we will lose to the Breach Tendrils deck. This one's a fun one, though. I do want to play this one. It's been kind of a minute since I did any sort of Breach or, Beseech the Mirror, Tendrils of Agony sort of decks. This one in particular is really nice because, Underworld Breach in other formats is often using Brain Freeze and stuff like that. In order to do its thing, we'll just go ahead and get rid of the Fury, because why not? So they use Brain Freeze to refill the graveyard, but we don't have that in Timeless, so you kind of have to be really creative about how you make that work. Stitcher Supplier right now I think is one of the better ways to do it. You can also be in blue-black and play the card that mills target player by 10. That's also a decent one to have. But this one being just in Rakdos looks like it's pretty solid regardless. Very interesting that the pitch elementals are so prevalent in a deck that needs so much advantage to cards in the graveyard. Like when you're exiling things to cast your Fury, that is taking away from your Breach kill. But they've made it work, and we are dead. So that's the end of round 3. We'll move to round 4 now. All right, here we go. We kind of have a decent hand here. We can get a moderately large patchwork out and then work towards a Kappa Cannoneer. I guess I'll try keeping this one. This is better if the Kappa Cannoneer is a Thought Monitor. We're closer to casting one of those, but opponent keeps 7 and so will we. The question is, do I play turn 1 Aether Spellbomb? I think now, seeing this Emery, that's not going to matter. So we have turn 1 Emery now. And then after this, we'll probably just look for a Patchwork Automaton. We have some good finds here in the Emery bin. Probably just going to be 2 Aether Spellbombs then. Opponent's playing Soul Warden. We will attempt to attack. Thoughtcast is about usable now. We have Metallic Rebuke in case they try to trick us with Soul Warden and something else. And because we won't be able to play a thing out with Emery, we'll just go Patchwork Automaton this turn. Then that sets up Thoughtcast, Aether Spellbomb, and very soon we'll have a Kappa Cannoneer down. We get our 1 damage in. Sweet. Here's a Patchwork, and we will say go. They do gain a life, so they will still be at 20. Angel Vitality here, so probably looking like just high frequency Soul Warden triggers, not necessarily like Angels or anything. This is looking like it'll be one of those hybrid ones, though. So we go Thoughtcast here first, looking for blue mana. We do find it. And then we're basically just trying to have Kappa Cannoneer next turn. So we'll go Aether Spellbomb. Get to put a counter on our Patchwork. And then I think for Emery, I'm just going to not bother casting anything. We'll go Metallic Rebuke. Or rather, we will look at the top of their library and draw a card. It is actually going to be some Angels. We'll take back the Mishra's Bauble again, trigger on our Patchwork, get that going, and we will say go. We'll offer the double trade if they'd like it. This is Youthful Valkyrie, okay, just an alt art for Angels, that's fine. I think it's pretty likely we want to counter whatever they do here. This will be Metallic Rebuke. And that's enough to win against Angels. That seems pretty nice. We drop a Kappa Cannoneer next turn, just continue going, and then we attack them down. I think they just got a little bit mad that they didn't get their Collected Company, but, you know, it is what it is. They did have good plays of Youthful Valkyrie and whatever 3-drop they're likely to have in hand by next turn. So, you know what, I think that they definitely are a little bit early on the concession. But we will take that. That's our round 4. Compared to some of these other games, this has been relatively fast. So let's hop it around 5, get one last one in there, and get the show on the road. All right, here we go. So this would be round 5, huh? We have Seed of the Synod, Darksteel Citadel. We're pretty good on artifacts in play. That means that the size less necessary, but still good to have. I think we'll keep this 7 here. We'll go for turn 2 Patchwork Automaton, and then just try to grow that as our game plan before anything else scary happens. We have Seed of the Synod to cast Metallic Rebuke, Vexing Bauble to put in if this is Omni Show. Opponent has Vivian, I assume that is. Okay, it's just Mill, sure. So we'll go Seed of the Synod, and then just get ready to... let's see, so we could get ready to Metallic Rebuke. We can also get ready to defend against Archive Trap with Vexing Bauble. That means that we would need to get Mox Amber out a little earlier. I'll think about that sequencing next turn. We want to just get a Psy really early, though. That's kind of the only thing. We'll mill 3. Putting a Mishra's Bauble in the graveyard, notably. We're looking to have Emery here as soon as possible. So that's Mesmeric Orb. Unfortunately, not going to be improvisable. Oh yeah, I definitely should have played Vexing Bauble. What am I talking about? This is not a 1-mana spell if I don't have any artifacts. So here is 1, 2. Looks like they have the Flare of Denial in hand. Darksteel Citadel, let's show them Vexing Bauble. And then we'll put Aether Spellbomb out after. Yeah, so they're thinking about sacking the Crab for Flare of Denial here, I think. Unless it's like some weird Pact of Negation thing. Here's Aether Spellbomb here. We are kind of hanging out on top of something. So we are now insulated against Archive Trap and the other one, Flare of Denial. So then now I just need to Metallic Rebuke anything that comes out after. They're looking at Vexing Bauble though. And I can use my Mishra's Bauble to draw a card. We are searching for a land after all. Blue-black. Drown in the Lot goes away. That's kind of nice to see in the bin. Unless they're playing Snapcaster Mage, then I gotta worry about 4 mana from them. Alright, mill me again. No Emery's hit the bin yet, which is nice. A Patchwork Automaton into Sai would be really good. That's a Surgical on Thoughtcast. Okay. Doesn't take out everything that we do. So I wonder if there's any innovation here to the mill deck. Blue-black is kind of standard / typical. I think probably mono blue would be the more atypical variant of this deck. They're going to have me mill right away, so they don't have anything with CMC2 or less in hand. That means that this has to be like Tasha's Hideous Laughter, something similar to that, or Archive Trap is in hand. Alright, let's take our draw here. They're drawing a land for next turn. I'll get 2 draws here. Double Mesmeric Orb, fine. Ooh, Kappa Cannoneer. Okay, at least those weren't Emeries. We find a land. We can play a Sai. We're going to be able to play a Sai, then next turn Metallic Rebuke. Or we can play Patchwork Automaton now and all the while have Metallic Rebuke up. I think I do need to have Metallic Rebuke up this whole time. And then I can send back the Ruin Crab, I guess, but not going to do that yet. Alright, so they'll exile something from the graveyard. Drown in the Lock, I guess, will be the one. They can't do that and pay for the ward trigger. It'll be Surgical again. Let's see what they target with the Surgical. I think it's likely going to be the case that I need to counterspell this. Oh, and they did pay with life, so they might have a counterspell as well with backup. Well, let's see what their target is with Surgical. They can take the Sai out of my hand. That seems to be what they're going to do. We'll attempt Metallic Rebuke here. Okay, cool. That'll get through. So we will have our Sai for this turn. One would hope. Alright, there's the first Emery into the bin. And they will Field of Ruin my Seat of the Synods. That's smart. Luckily, we do play basics. Hopefully, some of which will still be in the deck. We have 5 left, or 4 after this. And we mill again. So we're looking at 27 cards here. I see a second Emery go away. So now we're really looking to top deck an Emery. Well, with Vexing Bauble, I do need to be worried about that. I think I'll send the Spellbomb to the graveyard to draw. Another land. Wow, unfortunate. Here come Mesmeric Orbs. Okay, those are not bad. Did not get the Emery, though. Here's a Sai. And, I mean, I'm still worried about Archive Trap. We saw 1 Field of Ruin, 2 Field of Ruin, so it's 50% that they'll be able to force make me search. So I think maybe at this point I'm kind of okay with Vexing Bauble going away. Jeez, our third Mox Amber. Okay, well, we have to cast all these to make... to go as wide and as tall as possible. Keep this Mox Amber. Float some mana, and then we will be able to potentially, if we want, draw a card off of Sai, but probably not for now. We'll just attack in. So now we're starting our chip damage, but the question is it enough? 20 cards left. They can definitely mill me for that in 2 turns. We're also going to be milling 4 cards here on our upkeep, so we're effectively at 16. Nice to see that they lose a Stifle and follow-up Mesmeric Orb. That would have been another tough one for them to drop. A Ruin Crab, though, that does not feel good. Yeah, I think they don't even care about this Otawara. They think that they can mill me out faster than I can kill them, and I don't think that they're wrong. Any last-ditch Emerys available? I still see just the 2 in library. I imagine we mill one here, though. Kappa, Kappa. Can we find an Emery? Oh, we actually did, but now we mill down to 5. I mean, kind of has to happen. We're pretty much all but dead here. I say that we probably need to go fully attacking in here for sure. I don't think they care to block. We can't give anything haste, unfortunately. And yeah, I think we're going to mill out here in our upkeep, unfortunately. If that's 5 permanents, we will at least take another draw here to see what we could have had. But yeah, I think mill kind of just got under us here. Thought Monitor can't even be cast after this. We will go ahead and pass through and lose in our upkeep here. So what do we think about this matchup? The initial things with the initial play of having Vexing Bobble out did seem pretty nice. I don't know if they had an Archive Trap in hand, but if they had, we would have been pretty solid against that. But in the end, the slow plan of Mesmeric or Bruin Crab and just playing a somewhat control game seemed to be pretty strong for them. Stifle, kind of an interesting include here. I like the Field of Ruin into Archive Trap. That's definitely been standard in these sort of decks for a while. And then, yeah, we will lose to mill here. Opponent will take us out in round 5. And that will be the end of our mono blue artifact deck for today. Was definitely a lot of fun playing something somewhat close to 8 cast here. Opponent respecting us even enough to surgical extraction our thought casts here. So definitely people are aware of the power level that this deck can put out if we get lucky. But overall, been some decent games, been some not so decent games. I think it was about average here. Definitely looking like it's a more of a historic powerhouse than a timeless one, but you know, not many decks are. That being said, thank you guys for watching and enjoying this video. If you'd like to subscribe for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, please do that. Otherwise, do the YouTube thing of liking and commenting on the video. Those things help out so much. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Deck list in the video description. I'll see you guys in the next one.